Welcome to How to Be Hopeful, a podcast exploring the small sparks and big dreams that keep us moving forward. Here, we share stories, ideas, and voices that remind us that even in uncertain times, hope is not lost. It's growing. So take a deep breath, listen closely, and discover how to be hopeful.
Welcome everyone, and I just want to say thank you all for joining me today. My name is Katie Thermidor, and I also go by a nickname which is Miami. I am creating this podcast not only because it is a grade, but it is a goal, and it is possibly the closest thing I'll get to my dream. The reason How to Be Hopeful was created was because of my podcasting class. And with my podcasting class, we were tasked with creating a podcast that we were interested in. We wanted to facilitate the creation and seeing it all the way through. I chose hope. I chose hope because it's something that I think everyone needs. If you don't agree with me, just think about this. Have you ever seen or even had a friend who felt hopeless? They really wanted that job, but they didn't get it. They really could not miss that bus this morning, but they did. Oh my God, they really couldn't get another parking ticket or their license was going to be suspended? Yeah. Or if none of those resonate with you, what about going to the grocery store looking for your favorite snack and they don't have it? This podcast was created out of, I guess, a necessity for myself. Suicide, depression, mental health, these are all topics that are becoming more and more normalized in our society and everyday communication. But who knows who's really there for you and who's not? See, the definition of hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. I agree with that definition, but I also have my own. My definition of hope is the thing that will keep you going when you are beaten, battered, and bruised. See, hope for me is like a Hail Mary. It's like the thing that's going to get me across that finish line because nothing else will. Now, a lot of people, they tie hope into religion. But this is not a religious podcast. Although, by the grace of God, this episode is being recorded. But hope, in reference to my podcast, this podcast was created because I have been on my 13th reason. I have been stressed out. I have been overwhelmed. And I have been just hit with constant negative news through social media. I have my whole life to think about. I graduate in May. Oh my God. It is so easy for your own life to be overwhelming. And if you're like me, if you're stuck in your head, you think of everything. You're a pessimist. You think of the worst things while you rarely ever give a second thought to the positive things. We need hope. The thing that gets me up in the morning is not only God, but it's the hope that today I am going to be just a fraction better, a fraction more productive, a fraction more confident, a fraction more in love with myself, a fraction more goal-oriented, a fraction with just a little bit more fight. Now, some common suggestions that people will give you on like when you're feeling hopeless is like talk to a friend, write in a journal, exercise. But if you try everything and nothing works, I want this podcast to be what works for you. This podcast is not a place to judge. It's not a place to condemn. This podcast is a place where you are around like-minded individuals who are just like you. We always feel like no one can understand us. Well, no one really ever can. But that's why it's just that more important to have hope in yourself. Because if you know, like how I know, that no one will ever truly understand you, no one will ever really know you, you gotta find closure somewhere. And I find closure in fully understanding and loving myself. And the journey that it takes to get there is a long one. It is definitely not one to brush off as an easy task. Learning to love yourself, learning to talk nicer to yourself, learning to just be a more positive person can be a serious learning curve for a lot of people, especially if you have been in a depressive or suicidal state for a long time. And even if you've only been suicidal or depressed for an hour, I still want you to feel like you have a place. You know, I had a friend, and she was my best friend. She was awesome. She was hype. She was lit. She was down for whatever I was down for. That was my writer. Christmas break came around and we're all in a group chat with all of our friends, and she FaceTimes the group chat. So we answer and we're like, oh yeah, what's going on? What's up? And she's telling us like, guys, I did something. And we're like, well, what did you do? And she rolled up her sleeve and then she showed us her wrist and her upper arm. They were covered in cuts, self-inflicted, hundreds of them. And then she lifted up her other sleeve, and it was the exact same grotesque sight. Now, I always knew this friend as outgoing, down to party, willing to drink, willing to get fucked up. She was always positive, always comforting, always there for you. But in that moment, I felt like I failed as a friend because I didn't even know my friend was battling mental health issues that bad. And this is not to victim blame her. There is no accountability but on myself for not being a more observant friend. You know, I don't believe that there's a lot I could have done to prevent that, but I have hope that if I just paid attention a little bit more to her, if I just observed her and I just didn't take her at face value, if I just questioned her a little bit deep down, maybe that wouldn't have happened. But having hope is knowing that your next friend is going to get that upgrade. Your friends who you currently have now are going to get that upgrade. It is a curse to be annihilated and humiliated by your own mind. And I don't want anyone to feel like that, to deal with that, or to live through it. When your mind is your worst enemy, it makes it very hard to live. And with How to Be Hopeful, I want people to find a reason to live again. This podcast is not about me. This podcast is about other people. The purpose of my podcast is that I want to interview people who have been through something. I want to interview people who have been on their last bullet in their gun, facing their adversity, shaking, sweating, not knowing whether this bullet is going to do the trick or not. I want to interview people who were and who are just like me. People who lost hope for a while, for a long time, for a little bit. And I want people who just feel like there's no one on this planet Earth who will listen to them. I want them to come to this space and to enter the hopeful universe where the sun shines and the rainbow sings, where you can get cupcakes off of flowers and the bees drop Skittles. Hope is otherworldly. It's ethereal. It puts a supernatural power into you that can only be undone by extraterrestrial circumstances. I just feel like the world is becoming a meaner, more violent, unsafe place for our minds, our bodies, our hearts, and our spirits. I believe there are still beautiful, amazing, great people out there. And I also believe all those people have a story to tell about losing hope. How to Be Hopeful is a podcast to help you find hope again. Whether it be in a toenail clipper or even an heirloom that's been passed down for generations. We cannot wrap ourselves up in our mortal lives. Global warming, climate change, the government shutdown, ICE kidnapping individuals and citizens off the streets. We can all be a little confused right now, a little worried, and that's okay. Because if you're worried, you care. You have empathy. But while there are so many things to lose hope over in this world, there are not many things to gain hope over. We focus on what the news drives into us. We focus on what social media drives into us. But do those things really have any substance at all? The purpose of this podcast is to have substance. It's to be something real, something people can hold on to for their own hope. Thank you for listening, and I cannot wait to find more ways to be hopeful with you.
You've been listening to How to Be Hopeful. Remember, hope isn't something we find. It's something we grow. Continue to help others grow theirs too, because we all just need a little hope.